Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to go over synthetic division. Now the previous lesson was about long division, the full thought out long division. If you remember back in I don't know what grade you learned long division, but there was another division you learned, it was like short division. This is kind of like the short division of polynomials. Think of the word synthetic as like fake, it's not real division, but it still gets you the answer. Unfortunately you can't use synthetic all the time, just like you can't use synthetic things all the time, but it does help us with certain situations. So let's get cracking with this. First off, it says, how do you know when the divisor is a factor of the dividend? Remember, the divisor is what you divide by and the dividend is what you are dividing. And the way that you would figure this out is if you had a remainder of 0. If you had a remainder of 0, you would have a factor. Okay, if the remainder is 0, you would have a factor. Okay. All right, so here's the deal. Synthetic division can only be used when you're dividing a polynomial by a binomial, so two-term thing in this form, x minus c. It needs to be linear, basically. The power can only be 1, and there can be no number in front of here. Okay, so it has to be straight x minus a number, x plus a number, either or. Okay. So the first thing you do is this box here kind of breaks it down for you. I'm just going to do a problem with you so you can see it happen in front of you, but you'll see what this is all saying if you just look at what I'm going to do in the next problem. Okay, so I'm going to do an example with you. So there's a few things you need to know about synthetic division. Number one being that you can only divide by a linear thing. Okay, so meaning that, like I just said before, this has to be just a letter and that has to be just a number. No number in front of this. If there's a number in front of that, you got to do long division. Okay, but we are going to go ahead and make sure that we have everything we need. So first things first, that needs to be linear. Second thing is that this needs to be in standard form, meaning that the highest exponent needs to be first, followed in descending order. So x to the third, y to the third, y squared, y. So this is good to go. All right, and the third thing that you need to make sure is that there's no missing exponents. If there's a missing exponent, you put in a 0 in its place, just like I did that with the long division. Okay, so first step is to do this. Your goal is to get it to equal 0. So set equal the divisor to 0 and then add over 2, and you'll end up getting y equals 2. So if y was equal to 2, you would get a root on the graph, which is another thing we're going to talk about later on, and that's what you want to do. So this is how I set it up. I put a 2 in a little box here, okay, because that's this guy here. All right, I think of it as planting my root into the pot. This is like a flower pot to me, okay? There's my flower. All right, then I'm going to take my coefficients. I'm going to take 1, -8, 10, 2, and 4. You're going to want to make sure you keep the signs with them as well. So 1, because there's a 1. Space it out so you don't get squished up. Okay. Draw a line, but make sure you have enough space in between here so that you can put numbers in here. All right, so this is your first setup. You take your divisor, you set it equal to 0, you get a number, you put that into the flower pot, and then you put all your coefficients in a row with enough space in between them. You make sure you draw your line, you make sure there's a space. Now this is a very big important step, the thing I'm going to do right now, and people forget this step all the time when they do it wrong. It's so simple. The first thing you got to do when you have it all written like this is drop down the 1, okay? And then the synthetic division process will start. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this 2 and multiply it by 1 and then put that number here. So 2 times 1 is 2. Then you're going to add. It's different than long division, okay? You're multiplying and adding. So you multiply and add, okay? So you multiply, then you add this to get -6. And you do it again. Multiply, so you get 2 times -6 is -12, and then you add. Don't change any signs, okay? Just combine. So adding is not like changing the signs like you would subtract. So 10 minus 12 is -2. You start again. 2 times -2 is -4. Add. So 2 plus -4, that is -2. Start again. 2 times -2 is -4. Add. You get 0. And that's where your remainder is. You see how I drew another flower pot? That's where your remainder is. You see now that we have a remainder that of 0, that this is a root of that, a factor, I'm sorry, of that. Okay? But you still have to write your quotient. And if you remember back with long division, remember we did y divided by y to the 4th, and you got y to the 3rd? So that's where you start. You take the polynomial and bring it down by a power of 1. So this is going to be 1y to the 3rd minus 6y squared minus 2y minus 2. So this is your quotient. Okay, I'm going to do another one over, and it's going to come all together for you. Okay. So first step is to set this equal to 0, whatever you're dividing by. Find the root that you would want, and that's 8. 8's going to go into the flower pot. Then you're going to make sure that this is in order. So 3, 2, 1, 80, good. So exponents are decreasing in order, and also are there any missing letters? No, because this is x to the 3rd, x squared, and x. There's nothing missing. So because you have those things going on, you're going to take your coefficients, which is 1, negative 11, 14, and 80, space them out. Draw your line, make sure there's room. You are not going to forget to bring down the 1. And you're going to start your synthetic division process. You don't have to draw these arrows. I'm just doing it for people to see it. 8 times 1 is 8. Add. Remember, multiply, add. Ma. Then you're going to add negative 11 and 8, and you will get negative 3. Start over again. 8 times negative 3 gets you negative 24. Add. 14 minus 24 is negative 10. I know that I just subtracted, but adding is just combining the numbers you have, because you're doing 14 plus a negative 24. That's what's happening here. 8 times negative 10 is negative 80. Add. You get 0 as your remainder. Okay? Take this down by a power of 1. It started as x cubed, so therefore we go x squared, x, and there's your number, negative 10. So x squared minus 3x minus 10 is your quotient. And because we have a remainder of 0, we know that this is a factor of this. Okay, because this times that would get you back to this. All right, so this little section here talks about how it needs to be in descending order, and if there's a term missing, you need to put a 0 in. So it goes through an example right here, but I want to just do it and show you so that, like me personally, I'm a visual learner, so I really do need to see it myself. So I'm just going to show you one done out. This will help you. Okay, same beginning process. Take your divisor and set it equal to 0. This is our first one with a negative, so be mindful of that. Negative 4 is going to go into the flower pot. So then you look at your polynomial that you're dividing. It's right here. You're going to make sure that it starts with this highest exponent, which it does, and it goes down. But what we do notice here is that it's missing x squared. So we're going to put that 0 in its place. Okay? So now that I have everyone accounted for, all the variables with their proper exponents, I can go ahead and write 1 is my first coefficient, 0 is my second, negative 14 is my third, and 8 is my fourth. And I'm going to go ahead and start my process. Do not forget to drop down the 1. Start it to multiply. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Add. Negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Add. You get 2, because negative 14 plus 16 is 2. Negative 4 times 2, that's a negative 8, and there's our remainder of 0, because we add 8 minus 8. Okay, so then I'm going to take this down by a power of 1, so this will be x squared minus 4x plus 2, so that's my quotient. And again, because we have a remainder of 0, I know that this is a factor of that, and this times that would get me back to my original. Okay, so let's start this all over again. Again, you should probably pause the video and try one on your own at this point because we've done a few and you should be able to do it on your own. So I suggest you pause here and try it and see if you match the answer. Okay, just make sure you're looking out for any missing exponents and everything's in order. So hopefully you paused it, and hopefully you tried it, and I'm going to go ahead and go over it now. So I'm going to set this equal to 0. It's always going to be the opposite sign. You really don't have to show this step, but I'm just showing it for a good measure. And then I'm going to make sure that I am not missing any exponents and they're all in order. So yes, this is the highest exponent. This is the next highest. Oh no, I'm missing x squared. So I need to put in 0x squared right there. Okay, so I now take my coefficients, 1, -6, 0, because we're missing x squared, -40, and -63. Make enough space for yourself. Okay, so you're going to drop down your first number, 1. Do 7 times 1, 7. Add. You get 1. 7 times 1 is 7. Add. You get 7. 7 times 7 is 49. Again, you don't have to show all these like arrows that I'm drawing. It's just so you guys can see what's going on. And I get positive 9. And 7 times 9 is a positive 63. That gets me 0. And there we go. So now I'm going to take down by a power of 1. So this started with x to the 4th, so I get x to the 3rd, x squared, x, and a number. So my answer is x to the 3rd plus x squared plus 7x plus 9. And that's my quotient. Okay, now the next part talks about make sure that you have the polynomial in descending order, meaning the highest exponent is first, and also that there aren't any missing letters. So first things first is I'm going to set my guy over here to 0. I'll find out that p is -6. That goes into my box here. Now, the next thing I want to ask myself is this in descending order? And the answer would be no, because p to the 4th is in the middle, and that's the highest exponent. So p to the 4th is going to go to the front, write 5, p to the 3rd next, minus 11p squared would be next, minus 25p, and then 29. And that's proper order. That's standard form. We got it in descending order right here. So now that I have it in descending order, what I can do is I can go ahead and write my numbers. 1, 5, -11, -25, and 29. Drop down my first number, 1. You should pause it right now and see if you can do it on your own and see if you match my answer, and then unpause it when you're ready. So pause it. Okay, so -6 times 1 is -6. Add that, you get a -1. -6 times -1 is a positive 6. Add that, you get a -5. -6 times -5 is a positive 30. Add, you get 5. -6 times 5 is -30. Add, you get -1. This is the first time we've had a remainder with this, so just keep note of what we're going to do with this in a second. So I'm going to take this down by a power, so it would be 1p to the 3rd, because we started out with 4, minus 1p squared, minus 5p plus 5. No, you do not have to put the ones there. Sorry, I just put them there because I did. The remainder is right here. So because there's a remainder of -1, we're going to do minus 1 over what we divided by, p plus 6. This is just like how we wrote it with long division. Same thing. You got to divide it by the divisor, your remainder. Okay. Last question on this page. So you're going to set this equal to 0. Find out that x equals 2. That's going to go into the box. Again, I suggest that you pause the video right now and try the problem on your own. Okay, so we're going to make sure this is in descending order. 3, 2, 1. It is. Is there any missing exponents? 3, 2, 1. Nope. So we're going to go ahead, pull our coefficients out. Drop down the first number. 2 times 4 is 8. Add 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Add 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Add, you get 8. Okay, be careful here. Sometimes they do that and they make it the same number and they think you're going to get tricked and cancel it out, but you're better than that. Okay, take this down by a power of 1. That would be 4x squared plus 5x plus 2 plus your remainder over the divisor. And that's how you write your remainder right there. Okay, and that's a 2. That got a little squishy, but that's okay. So I hope this video helped you with synthetic division. If you had trouble with it, rewatch it. There's also another video, and good luck. You guys will get this down pat really well. Just reminder that you can only use synthetic division when it's divided by something that's like x plus a number and x minus a number, c being a number, okay? So no number in front of here, just this.